Let's preview tonight's Spurs Wolves game and ask, did Wemby get snubbed for the Rookie of the Month award?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, this is Hot Rod.
And I'm RC from the San Antonio Spurs.
And you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Hope everybody's having a great week at work, wherever you're doing, staying safe. But we're glad that you are back here at Locked On Spurs. You guys are the everydayers. Thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first stop. All things San Antonio Spurs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app. The list goes on and on. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app right now. Create an account and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. So what are we talking about today? We're going to preview tonight's Spurs game. Yeah, the Spurs back to action today. They're taking on Minnesota in Minnesota. Look at the game. Things got to watch out for, all that good stuff. And then we're going to have Joe Garcia. Sorry, Rudy's been on for a couple times, but Joe Garcia, he's coming up next. We're going to ask if Wemby was snubbed for the Rookie of the Month award and have a little game of buy and sell. That's coming up next with Joe Garcia of Two Shots Podcast. But let's talk about tonight's game, Spurs and Wolves. The Spurs have been off for a few days. Hopefully they're refreshed, batteries recharged, aches and pains soothed away, and they're ready to go. Hopefully to snap that 14-game losing skid. Yes, that's right. The Spurs are on a 14-game losing skid. You know that. The Spurs are coming into tonight's game 3-16. While the Wolves are coming in at 15-4. Yeah, I would have thought the Wolves would be one of the best in the NBA, let alone the Western Conference. Now, the Spurs are coming off a loss versus the Pelicans. That was on the road, 121-106. For Wemby watch, he did not play because remember he had an injury, but he did say he'll be back tonight versus the Wolves. In that game, Julian Champagnie, 12 points. Zach Collins, 12 points, 5 rebounds in the loss. Sohan had 13 points and 4 assists. Keldon Johnson had 11, and Devin Vassell had 14 points. As far as the Spurs injury report tonight versus the Wolves, Collins and Vassell are probable for tonight's game. And for those that are on uniform jersey watch, the Spurs will be their white association jerseys today. So there you go. So what are some things you're going to be looking at for tonight's game, Spurs-Wolves? Hopefully the Spurs can snap their losing skid. Let's look at the Wolves side of things. Well, it doesn't bode well for the Spurs. The Wolves have won 2 games in a row in their own gym. So, yeah, tough road ahead for the Spurs. Keep an eye on that scoreboard heading into the third period. If they're leading after that third period, the Wolves are 8-0 at home. So if they're ahead in the scoreboard heading to the final frame, they haven't lost this year. Spurs got to make sure they're competitive at taking that lead, or at least tied to the Wolves, have themselves a chance to take a W out in Minnesota. Now, watch for the ball passing. Minnesota's good at that. How good? Well, they're undefeated when they're 10-0 when they record more assists than their opponents this season. So keep an eye on the ball sharing on Minnesota. Hopefully the Spurs defense is up to snuff, playing the passing lanes, disrupting their offensive flow. Spurs got a key on that. So yeah, the Wolves are a tough out. Now for the Spurs side of things, there is some good news. The Spurs, despite the losing skid, there's actually one thing they've been doing good in the last few games. They're actually connecting on more three-pointers than their opponents. Yeah, 3 straight games, your Spurs have made more threes than the opposition. That is good news because the Spurs need to be not having those offensive droughts that we've been seeing throughout the season. If they're firing all cylinders, pun intended, from the deep line, then yeah, Spurs should have a good shot at snapping their win streak versus the Timberwolves. Now, obviously, it's more than just that. Connecting on threes, defense, everybody playing, Wemby being Wemby, Devin being Devin, all that has to click. But that's good news heading into this game. They've been firing from deep and making them. So, yay, Spurs. But turnovers have been a big issue for the Spurs. Costly ones at inopportune times. Too many altogether, 20+ that we've seen this year. And keep an eye on the turnovers on your silver and black side of things. The Spurs are winless, 0-11, when they record more turnovers in a game than their opposition. So, again, they almost have to play perfect basketball to get themselves a good shot tonight versus Minnesota. Take care of the ball. Try to be disruptors on the defensive end, and don't let Minnesota get into some sort of, passing the ball around, looking for open shots. They got to be in competition with this Wolves team heading to that third frame and afterwards, because if Minnesota's ahead, we know what happens. That is your quick Spurs preview tonight versus Minnesota. When we get back, we're going to bring on Joe Garcia of Two Shots Podcast. We're going to ask if Wemby got snubbed in the Rookie of the Month award, and then play a little game of buy and sell with Joe. So that's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs.
Hey, this is Chris Sabat, and you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
But before we bring on Joe, I want to talk to you about eBay Motors. Our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Basketball host Josh Lloyd to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week all season long. Whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, each week we're going to provide you players that are guaranteed to fit your roster. So let's see who Josh has picked out for us this week on this week's eBay's Guaranteed Fit Fantasy Pick of the Week. And with everybody keeping an eye on that Rookie of the Year race, obviously it's a two-horse race right now between Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama, but there is a third dark horse, and that is Mavericks' Derek Lively II. He's climbing up the rookie ranks little by little, so keep an eye on that, Spurs fans, hopefully he doesn't have a breakout season as this season continues. So it's hard to find any starting centers with big growth, and we're looking at Derek Lively. He has upside, and Lively has already flashed that. So there you have it. That is the fantasy pick of the week right here from Josh Lloyd from Locked On Fantasy Basketball, and he's going to help you win your fantasy championship. And eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being the perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. Look, what's your dream ride? Do you have that dream ride? You need to be fixed? Go to eBay Motors. Do you have any bad experiences buying parts for your car? You don't have to worry about that by simply going to eBay Motors. What about the favorite memory of the car you love? You want to go look for it again, go buy that car again, or perhaps you have it, and again, you want to look for parts for it? eBay Motors is the answer. So if you have that dream ride, or you just want to keep your current ride tip-top shape and keep it running, look no further than eBay Motors. Also, go to eBay Motors for that cool upgrade you've really been wanting. I know you have. Look, with over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, roof racks, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay's Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, look, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey everybody, this is Nathan Ray Clark from Criminal Minds and Modern Family, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs, hosted by Victor Wembanyama's new best friend, Jeff Garcia.
And look who's back to join us, Joe Garcia, right here on Locked On Spurs. He is with Two Shots Podcast. Okay, first of all, let's dispel any rumors, Joe. No, I have not been snubbing Joe. See, to get the whole thing because of Wemby, where that's the next topic.
Yeah.
Joe's just been busy. He has a new job, everybody, but I finally caught him on a good day, good night, where we can get together, talk about Wemby. Was he being snubbed for the Rookie of the Month award, and much more. Joe, welcome back, man.
Oh, thank you for having me. Been a long time since I've been back on, man. It's hard to get a hold of me now since I work all these early hours, get out weird hours now because of training and stuff. It's like I got another couple weeks, so I have Mike trying to hold things down, and he always has technical issues, much like you, Jeff. So it's a fun show to watch.
Yeah. I mean, nobody should be surprised that you've been away for a while because, like, you've been away from, your show, the Animal City Sportscast. So, but hey, you're back. Let's get back into the swing of things and talk about the big topic of late, since the Spurs were off for quite some time, and that was Chet Holmgren beating out Victor Wembanyama for the Western Conference Rookie of the Month award. Now, they kind of comboed the last 2 months. I think went October, November. But nevertheless, Chet got it. The big question, Joe, was Wemby snubbed?
I don't know, man. I don't think Wemby was snubbed. I'm going to be honest with you.
Wow. Hot take coming out of the gate since you haven't been back.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like, if Wemby wants to go ahead and be in that conversation, which, he was nominated, of course.
Mhm.
But to go ahead and be selected, your team has to at least have a winning record.
Yeah.
A 14 game losing streak does not help your cause, even though I feel like at times, he gets overlooked because of Chet Holmgren. And then you have the other co-rookie that's also getting rookie of the month honors here is Jaime. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah, for the East.
Marquez
Yeah.
Jr.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's been playing really good too. But you look at Wemby's numbers. He in 18 games, Wemby's put up and he's averaged 19.3 points a game, 9.7 rebounds, 2.9 blocks, 1.3 steals a game. And then you look at Jaime, and he's had 12 points a game, averaging 3.9 rebounds a game, 2.1 assists per game, 2.5 assists per game, should I say. Wemby's numbers are better, but again, losing does not help your cause. If he wants to go ahead and be in the, let's say, in the high, he wants to be highlighted, he wants to be in the forefront. Spurs have to win some games, man. Even if they had won half of those games, they could have lost, let's say, instead of 14 games, they won 7 of those 14 games. He probably would have been nominated, and he would have been up there, but losing doesn't help.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you, Joe. I think he was snubbed. If they're going just strictly by individual numbers, then
doubt.
individually he was head and shoulders above Chet and even the Eastern Conference. But again, that's for the Eastern Conference. That's Miami. We're not worried about that. We're just worried about the West. Now, Chet does have the edge as far as head-to-head matchups. The Thunder have beaten the Spurs this season. They're 1-0. But Chet's numbers for the 2 months, the NBA said, well, he averaged 17.9 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, 2.1 blocks. Now, I looked at that same span, Joe, that same 2-month span. Wemby, 19.3 points per game, 9.7 rebounds, 2.7 blocks. Again, in that same 2-month period that they lumped in the first award for the month. Now, you're right. I think the voters or how they count, they do take into account the record, but they shouldn't, because this is an individual honor. Now, it's not just the NBA who's seeing that Chet can be perhaps the rookie of the year. Vegas, Joe, recently, of the 5 major odds makers, 3 of them are now predicting Chet's going to win it. Do you think that Chet has an unfair advantage because he's older and technically a sophomore in the NBA?
I don't know if it's just the older thing that you should go ahead and hang your hat on. The thing is this is this is his rookie season because he was out last season due to injury. The thing is, Oklahoma City Thunder are a more exciting team than the San Antonio Spurs because they garner more attention. They're winning. They're a great young team. Not to say that the Spurs are a bad young team.
Yeah.
They have a good, nucleus, a good core of young players. The problem is that the Spurs just aren't conducive to winning at this point in their early development. And I think that's what really hurts things at the end of the day. Before the season even started, all the buzz was about Wemby. That noise has kind of died down quite a bit. So the Spurs want to go ahead and get Wemby into that conversation of, hey, he really needs to be looked at for rookie of the year. The team needs to start going ahead and winning some games. That's going to help their cause. Get the spotlight back on Wemby. We need Wemby to have like a 30-point outing like Jeremy Sohan had.
Or like the last one he had against Phoenix too.
Yeah.
I do think, and I hope they're not looking at team records.
Yeah.
Because then in that case, then just give Chet the Rookie of the Year award now. Just give it him. Why we even bother? But if they're looking at impact on the individual player as having on team success, well then Chet has the edge. But again, you're still looking at an unfair advantage. He has SGA at his side. I'm not knocking this Wemby's teammates. Like Popovich himself said that this teammate doesn't have any all-stars. He said it himself.
That's true.
Okay. But, you're still looking at an unfair advantage for Chet. Technically a sophomore, but okay, fine, Joe. I get your point for his full year. He's older than him. His body is filled out a little bit more and has a better squad around him. Wemby doesn't. He's younger. He's just a teenager and doesn't have the squad that that Chet does. However, Joe, I'm not going to be surprised if next month Wemby gets it. I think it's going to go back and forth between these two guys, unless maybe a Derek Lively or that from the West, because we're just focused on the West. It really comes on, but outside of that, I think it's going to be a battle every other month. It's going to be Chet one month, Wemby next month. I think I can see it playing out like that, Joe.
We're going to see. Like, the only thing I can tell you is the Spurs need to find ways to win. Not saying that they need to go on some crazy win streak, but find ways to win games. If they go ahead and find ways to win games, they'll be in the limelight again, especially with Wemby. He needs to just go ahead and put some games together, I think, strong games where he has strong performances of double digits, not only in points, but also.
But he has been doing that. He scored 20 or more points like in 4 straight games before he got injured.
I understand
out that game.
But if you want to really get in that conversation, you want to make a name for yourself. 30 plus points, 15 rebounds, 6 blocks, and a couple assists to add to that. That's a great stat line to have. Even if you're flirting with, let's say, triple doubles almost every other game, Wemby's very capable of doing that. However, I feel like at times the Spurs kind of stifle his development because they go in lieu of putting out, horrible lineups, that Coach Pop likes to play with early on in the season. Hopefully, it'll go ahead and die down, that subside a little bit, and it gives Wemby an opportunity to really showcase his talents and what he can do, and that he deserves to be up there in the conversation with rookie of the month accolades almost every other month or every month.
You know what this reminds me of? Remember when DeJounte was playing, and there was that year where he was like a fringe all-star, but Draymond Green sat out and he gave the seat to DeJounte. But prior to that move by Green, Pop kept on saying, it's a shame on us because our record is not allowing him to get in just outright. Yeah. And I feel like that could happen to Victor. Like their record is not letting him win like a Rookie of the Month award or perhaps more in the future. I still think he will win the award. I think it'll go down like probably to the last few games of the season between these two guys. They do play three more times. I think the next one is in San Antonio in January, excuse me. So Victor will have another chance to try to outshine him. But yeah, you got to figure too, Joe, that losing to Chet in that first meeting probably didn't help. If you want to dig deeper, there's some stuff. And now look. Wemby does lead rookies in several categories: blocks, steals, points, and Chet's right behind him. But you look at other advantages. Wemby's not a good 3-point shooter statistically, about 25-26%. Chet is, a better effective field goal shooter. Wemby is lesser. So, Joe, this battle could go down to the last few months, huh?
We'll just see. Like I said, if the Spurs want to go ahead and get Wemby into getting that award of Rookie of the Year, this team has to find ways to win. They have to find ways to get Wemby the ball. Wemby has to have some spectacular games in order to go ahead and get back into the limelight in that conversation in the NBA and across, the 4-letter networks and whatnot that are all spinning, highlight reels and stuff. And right now, the new guy that they like to go ahead and feature is Chet Holmgren.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Success breeds attention. And right now, OKC has more success than the Spurs collectively. But I'm still crossing fingers, Joe. I think Wemby still has this. I think he's going to put up better numbers at the end of the season to kind of push it. But this is going to be a great battle to watch. This is a race that I think everybody should be tuning into. See how much it feels. I mean, it went from preseason, Joe, to, oh, no, Wemby, hands down. Everybody's picking him to win the Rookie of the Year. Now it's been like, well, maybe not. Maybe it's not so much slam dunk. Hey, what happened to Scoot Henderson, though? Where did he go? He fell off. He's in the G League. Now, granted, it's for rehab, but nevertheless, he hasn't been happy. Can you imagine the Spurs selected him? Oh, my goodness.
Who knows what it would have
would have been flipping everywhere right now.
Spurs would have been in a really bad situation because the team would have really losing, from the get-go, not winning 3 games. You would have had your number 1 pick if they had selected Scoot in the G League. That wouldn't have set well with Spurs.
No, it wouldn't have.
Hey, at least you got Wemby to think, to go ahead and say, hey, at least Wemby helped the Spurs get those 3 wins that they have. Hopefully there'll be more, but we're going to talk about that soon, Jeff.
Absolutely. All right. So for the record, Joe says Wemby wasn't snubbed. Make sure to let him know what you think on X at 2 Shots Podcast. I said that he was snubbed. All right. I think he was. Number, pound for pound, stat for stat. I think Wemby gets the edge.
I need Jeff to play the villain. You need to get a little Darth
Hey,
Vader.
I've tried to play the villain sometimes on this episode. I think when we record this,
We need to
but
get you a little Darth the Vader out of you. A
yeah,
little.
well, we can just put Darth Vader. He's here already, so we can
Well,
put him
you need to
behind
put
me.
him back there somewhere. You need to
Yeah. So
maybe with a turtle or
just split these two guys out. Yeah. All right. When we get back, we're gonna play a game of buy and sell buy or sell with Joe Garcia. And the first one's going to be quite the doozy. Just when will the losing streaks be done with? That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs.
This is Emily Swallow, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Hey, I want to talk to you about GameTime.co. Look, you want to go to GameTime right now? Go get that app. Look, you shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets for your next event, whether that be a sports, music, comedy, theater events, whatever. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for everything that you need near you. Killer last minute deals, all in prices, view from your seat, best price guaranteed. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Again, the lowest price guaranteed, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, views from all seats and all the venues. Look, you can't go wrong by going to Game Time right now or downloading the app right now. Find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area. Super easy to use. Look, they have zone deals where you pick the section, Game Time picks the seats for an average savings of 18%. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. They have flash deals. They got it all. Even tickets right up to the start of the event. Why don't you want to go to Game Time? Well, you want to. That's for sure. You want to go there right now. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Hey, I want to talk to you about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Go to 2404 Thousand Oaks, San Antonio. Go there right now. They're open every day, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have a big menu, so many options for you. Dairy alternatives, the signature drink, the Mudslinger. They even have signature drinks as well, like the Alien. You know who that's about, Victor Wembanyama, full can of Red Bull, Kiwi Green Apple. They even have the Sub-Zero. That's in honor of Frank Harris, UTSA's very own. They got so much more there. They even have the Red Bull infused Lightning Bolt series. I mean, shall I go on? Of course I'll go on. They have mini donuts. They have a friendly staff. They have a convenient location in this 281 1604 area. And they are a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud community member of San Antonio. Look, they're so active on social media. You can find them on X, Threads, Instagram, TikTok. The list goes on and on. Make sure to follow them at Mudslinger, SATX. That's all one word. Do that now, San Antonio. Over 300 5-star reviews cannot be wrong. They are so awesome there. Go there right now. They even have the OG OJ. I had a little bit to do with that. That's the Orange Julius recreated only at Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Go there right now, San Antonio, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, open every day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Life is too short for bland coffee.
This is Zach Aguilar, the voice of Tanjiro Kamado, and you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs with Joe Garcia of Two Shots Podcast, making his way back after a long absence. He's just been busy. He has a new job, so kudos, Joe. Good job getting that new job. I heard your new job is basically to take Wemby to school on the court and get him better. Is that true?
I wish. My job is actually to help people like you that need tech support assistance.
Yeah. And Jimenez now, apparently, right?
Oh, man. Jimenez just cracks me up every other episode. He's always having some type of issue. I'm like, well, here we go again.
Here we go again. At least you have experience with me, so you can walk him through.
Oh, yeah.
What you need to walk him
through. You're the king. You're the king.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I wish I didn't have that crown. All right. So let's play a game of buy and sell, or sell, I should say, with Joe Garcia. And the first question up, Joe, I got him right here. Buy or sell, the Spurs will turn things around this season.
No, they will not turn things around.
Woo, this Joe coming out strong again.
May of Spurs fans, I know that they had high hopes going in, and Coach Pop and they lied to you guys, and they said it's all about winning. The product on the court tells you otherwise.
I disagree. I think they will turn things around. Now that's a relative point.
Well, here's
maybe they could get like to 20 wins. See, they turned it around.
Well, here's the question. Do you think that the Spurs will actually win another game before the end of the year?
Yes. Yes, I do think that'll happen.
You are very optimistic.
I'm very optimistic. I know I got penciled in for the Bulls game this Friday, but look, the Bulls recently beat the Pelicans, so yikes! You don't know which Bull teams you're going to get, and you don't know what Spurs team you're going to get. You get super competitive to the very bitter end, as we saw, a couple games ago, or I guess Atlanta, but are we going to get the ones that just get curb stomped? But no, I know you're selling that. I'm buying it. I think the Spurs will turn things around. I think eventually they'll get to a point where everything will start clicking. The learning curve will be shorter. Wemby he's only getting stronger with each game. So we'll see what happens. All right, next question, Joe.
Put it like this real quick.
What's up?
Mathematically, the Spurs already have 14 losses on the season. If they go ahead and, let's say, string together another 20 losses, mathematically, they're taking themselves out of everything. At that point, they're just playing for, I don't know, pride.
Yeah, there's going to come to a point where they're going to say, okay, where are we going this season? Might as well just call it a day and get a high draft pick. In other words, tank season, here we go again. That's getting to that point, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
All right, the next buy or sell question for Joe Garcia. Buy or sell, Joe. I got it right here. Let me get it right here. Buy or sell, Sohan will remain the starting point guard for the rest of the season.
Oh, I'm buying that. Coach Pop is not going to move him no matter how much Spurs fans complain.
No matter how much the numbers show that it's a bad idea. Huh?
It's not working. Coach Pop is stubborn. He's going to keep Jeremy at the point. All you can do is just go ahead and get on board, cheer Jeremy on. Hopefully he has another 30-point outing.
Yeah. He followed that 30-point outing with not another 30-point outing, 13 points. The turnovers are still an issue. I was at the media conference with him where he said that something he gets in his head, that he's overthinking, when he's playing. But I think that's just, part of learning the position, not his fault. I mean, imagine one day, Joe, you're being trained right now on your new job, and they say, okay, now you got to do X, Y, and Z. And you're like, well, I've been training this, what the H, So, I mean, yeah, anybody can understand where Sohan is coming from, but he's trying his best. He's getting better little by little. He had that 30-point game, so there's a sign of things to come. But yeah, I'm with you. I think he will be the remaining starting point guard, barring any type of injury or massive deal they make at the trade deadline to bring in an established or just something like that.
Hey,
but
Jeff,
if they don't go that route, he's going to be the starting point guard for the rest of the year.
It's like this, Jeff. We can train you to be a tech support specialist and help other people that have tech issues. But are you going to be any good at it?
Nope.
No.
Probably not.
Probably not.
I'll probably flip through my book like, okay, well, hold on. Let me go to that chapter. Okay, do this. Yeah.
Oh, that would be hilarious. But let's go. I digress.
All right. And Joe, your final buy or sell question. Buy or sell, let me get it right here. The Spurs will snap their losing streak tonight versus Minnesota or to next game versus the Bulls. Which one do you got?
That's an emphatic NO. Heck to
on
the
both? On both?
Both. No.
Good Lord.
Like this, Jeff. I don't think the Spurs are going to win another game before the end of the year. Let's put it like that.
Man, are you being realistic or pessimistic?
No, I'm being realistic, man. And you know what? The sad part is I'm a season ticket holder. So I go to quite a bit of these games, especially on the weekends. Believe me, man, I want them to win. Even when I take my dad out there, my dad's already getting up there in age, not in the best health. If I take him to the games, my dad's like, if I get a free t-shirt, I'm going to throw it back and tell him I want to win. Like, Pops,
hey, well, throw it to me. I'll take it.
Yeah, get a win from my dad at least. Spurs, get a win before the end of the year.
There you go. Do it for Joe's dad. Joe. I don't think they'll win tonight versus Minnesota. I'm holding hope out for the Bulls. But with the Bulls, despite their issues and their losing ways, all it takes is DeMar, Levine, or even Vucevic to have a big game, and the Spurs can be cooked. Just one of those guys. We saw that recently versus Atlanta. It just took Trae Young to just detonate on them in the second half.
They couldn't contain him. But, I say the Spurs will not win another game before the end of the year. I say that lovingly because, believe me, I would like them to at least get a win before the new year. But I'm just being realistic. At the end of the day, I don't really think it's going to happen.
Okay, so when do you think it will happen then?
It's probably going to happen maybe after the new year. Looking into the month of January, they'll finally go ahead and break the losing streak. Everything will be all right. And, here in the Alamo City, and hopefully the Spurs can string together a couple more wins and at least make the fans feel a little bit better because, man, it's tough to watch right now.
Joe, I'm going to take you off screen for a bit, just for like 2 seconds, Joe. This is how you're making me feel. How you making me feel, Joe?
Like
depressed. Just depressed.
Oh, man.
just depressed. Yeah, like what? Like that.
Like this, Jeff.
But-
If we played the drinking game, every time the Spurs lose, we take a shot. We'd go through a bottle of liquor.
We'll be in the hospital right now, alcohol poisoning at this point.
Yep.
But there's your game of buy and sell right here on Locked On Spurs as we welcome back Joe Garcia after a quick absence. Joe, what is going on Two Shots End of Things on the YouTube Alamo City Sportscast? What you got going?
Well, in Two Shots, I've had to take a little hiatus because I have this new job now.
That's right. Yeah, I got the
now
job right.
Through a chink in all the armor here because I have this early schedule. So Jimenez is flying solo with the Alamo City Sportscast.
That's hilarious.
A little bit, but now we're trying to kind of figure things out. So I'm thinking maybe on Fridays I can go ahead and have him come in the studio. Maybe we can go ahead and do a Friday show together. That's always fun because I get to talk with him and gets to talk with me. And we get to hang out afterwards. Maybe we'll go to the Stout House, invite Jeff if he wants to come and have a little bit of drinks with us or enjoy happy hour. But Two Shots is going to get going again too because that's been on hiatus, been so busy. But when we go ahead and record a new episode, the first person that I want on this new episode is none other than Jeff Garcia.
Yes, count me in, Joe. Count me in. Love to go back on your show. It's been a while, and I can't wait to go back.
Yeah, maybe we can get your studio.
Yeah. Weekends, get me in there. Saturday or Sunday. Barring the game, obviously, but all that. Yeah, he is Joe Garcia, Two Shots Podcast. Follow him on X at Two Shots Podcast. Let him know that we missed him here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get a podcast. Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, Ken's 5 Plus app. The list goes on and on. No excuse for you to not check out Locked On Spurs. We'll be back tomorrow, recapping the game tonight versus Minnesota. What stood out, what didn't stand out, and so much more. Just everything silver and black, Victor Wembanyama, and more. So for Joe Garcia, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.